Everyone, here in the dark in Cape Canaveral. I am going live earlier than anticipated because of the possibility. Once again, I must emphasize and stress the possibility of a scrub already as a result of a hydrogen leak. Have we heard this before? But one of the reasons that I wanted also to come to you, bear with me a moment. I always do this. I always don't think this stuff through. And I'm going to get a more proper little gimbal to put this thing on just so we're not having shakiness continuously. And but once again, boy, 54 people have already joined. Once again, yes, there may indeed be some problems. Once again, this is unconfirmed. So we can't say for certain, but nevertheless, hello Poland, thank you for joining us. Once again, it's so early today, and another thing I wanted to show is just how utterly insane this entire event is right now. Just so crazy, to say the least, with everything that's happening at the moment. Just nuts. Let me see if I can find what I need. If I can't find what I need, there we go, got it. Okay, I'm gonna put this baby on a gimbal real quick to give you a little bit more of a steady shot, and then we will go from there. And once again, just to emphasize, this is not confirmed, and this is not something that necessarily is going to cause a scrub, but nevertheless, the same sort of hydrogen leak that was detected in the most recent wet rehearsal appears to be happening again. Now, how the hell could this be happening? You know, how could they not have figured this out? Well, because of ML1 is my opinion. The thing of it is, nobody fully understands ML1. Nobody fully understands how that thing works and how it is designed. And so that could be one of the problems that we're experiencing right now. It's tough to fix a piece of equipment that you don't have a comprehensive engineering design for, which is one of the reasons why I released the video that I did. I'm sorry, there's a gentleman standing here. Did you have any news for me?
It sounds like they're going to resume refueling at a slower rate now. So
they are resuming refueling at a slower rate, but nevertheless, if they do detect a leak again occurring at a certain percentage, there's a certain threshold that they cannot pass. If they still run into a problem with that, then that means that they need to stop again. Where we go from there is still unknown. So once again, I'm going to show you guys just how insane all of this is. Just to emphasize, this is many hours before launch, and we have just an insane crowd of people here who are how's everybody doing tonight?
Fine.
We have an insane crowd of people who are who have gathered at the moment. Yes, and hopefully we're not crazy just yet. So yeah, we've got hours, and it is nuts. I'm gonna go out onto the road to give you an idea. This parking lot right here, you have to pay $35 just to park here. Fortunately, this again is Shiloh's, and they were nice enough to give me a parking spot here. They've just been very supportive of our content. So in any event, let's hope that things go well. But I'm going out onto the road to show you the craziness that's currently going on. 179 people tuned in. Crazy stuff indeed. ML1, Mobile Launcher 1. Mobile Launcher 1 is the platform that they're going to use to launch SLS. The problem with ML1 is it was never designed for SLS. It was designed for a different rocket, a smaller rocket. Don't want to get run over here, but let me give you, It's just nothing but parked cars all the way down the highway for miles and miles and miles down the road. It's just insane. It just goes forever. And once again, this is, 3 in the morning, a time when generally there should be nobody here whatsoever. And instead we have teeming crowds of people here hoping, praying to see something, and now we have a problem. So once again, to get back to Mobile Launcher 1, it was never designed for SLS, and then they modified it. Instead of building a new launch platform from scratch, NASA had the idea, hey, let's go ahead and save money and modify this one. Well, cost hundreds of millions of dollars, and 3 contractors later, and it still is a deeply flawed piece of equipment that now nobody understands. All of the contractors contributed their own modifications to it, and they messed it up. Now nobody even understands ML1 because there is no comprehensive universal design or blueprints for the launch pad at all. And so as a result, if there is a problem, it's difficult to track it down because nobody understands it. Now, think of a car that's been modified and messed around with by multiple owners. That means that it's going to be very tough to work on when you need to work on it. So that's our current situation. And as I say, we have people and just walking and walking and walking here. And once again, I'm going to take you to the beach, or to the riverfront here. We're going to get an idea of all the people. How many D tanks can SLS take? That's a good question. Thank you so much, Anton Nim, for your support. Wow, thank you. Like I say, this is the sort of thing that keeps this content coming, keeps these updates coming. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Okay, so let's go ahead. Just going to give you an idea of and once again, this is dead of night when any sensible person should be asleep. And here we go. You can see the crowds all the way down the beach that way, and all the way down the beach that way. It is insane. I got a chance to ask Bill Nelson one question once, and I asked him about SLS actually, and he wasn't particularly happy that I asked the question. We'll put it that way. But he had a decent answer at least. Yes, perfect timing in Europe. For those of you, thank you so much. Deadline, that's awesome. Really, once again, reiterate the problem. Once again, to repeat what is happening right now. These again are unconfirmed reports that we have a hydrogen leak currently when they tried to do a fueling, and they are going to attempt it again, this time a bit more slowly. However, if the leak passes a certain threshold, they will scrub the mission. We could have, I don't want this to happen, but we could have a scrub as early as in the next hour or so, if it continues to have problems. So it's just nuts. Good morning to all of you. Over 200 people watching. Thank you. SRBs have to be timing out soon. Yep, that's very true. We can't continue to have these damn problems. We can't leave the SRBs stacked. And of course, with every failure, with every mistake, with every delay, the government is going to become less and less convinced that this is a viable program. So, and that obviously we don't need either. It's important that Artemis 1 take off. By the way, that little bright thing over there, you can't see it very clearly, obviously. don't have a good camera, but that right there is SLS, just so you know. All lit up, but unfortunately can't really get a good look at it with the current equipment that I've got. I'll have a lot more to set up, but I'm not going to set up until I know if we're going to have a scrub right off the bat. Although, to be honest, I may still stay here and live stream a sunrise with SLS, simply because that would be a magnificent thing to see, number one. And number two, I don't want to get caught in the huge traffic jam that this is going to create. Bear with me for just one moment. I'm going to go ahead and set this right here. Once again, to reiterate, there is rumors of a hydrogen leak during the tanking process that went past the threshold, the acceptable threshold of what a hydrogen leak they can be experiencing essentially during a tanking. Yes, hydrogen concentration, if it hits 4%, the tanking stops, which is what it hit. Now they're resuming it slow. It hits 4% again. It is indeed a scrub, which would be just utterly devastating, obviously, if that were to occur, because they need to track down the damn leak, which was the problem that they had. Just a moment here. I need to get down to more reasonable, taking my jacket off at the moment. But yeah, if there is a scrub tonight as a result of a hydrogen leak, it is very possible that this rocket is going back to the VAB. Thank you, Anton. Really do appreciate that. It will most probably go back to the VAB for further work in order to try to track down the leak. So let's hope. Let's pray that this doesn't happen. Let's hope it was some kind of sensor or something. Maybe that's what it was. But given the fact that they've already experienced hydrogen leak problems in the past, and given the fact that they didn't experience these problems with the green run, since there were no hydrogen leak issues with the green run, my suspicion is we're looking at a problem with ML1. It is annoying. Good point, Jonathan. Problem with hydrogen makes metal brittle, slips through everywhere. Yes, for those of you who need to get back to sleep, yes, I would strongly advise that you do so. Right now, I'm just continuing to listen in on the news, once again, to give you guys an impression of just how, and once again, this is the case in Titusville, up and down the river for miles and miles and miles. We have a colossal crowd of people here. It is very difficult to thank you so much, really appreciate that, Joe Pilot. Very nice to contribute. How's everybody doing tonight?
Very good.
No leak. Let's have a launch. All right, so in any event, since when have they been concerned about money? Yeah, that's true. It's not a money issue. It's going to be a matter of people having decreased confidence in Artemis and NASA, if indeed there is a scrub tonight, if indeed the rocket has to go back to the VAB. That will be a disaster of epic proportions for NASA, having to go back to that. So we are praying right now that is not the case. But the information seems pretty solid that they experienced that problem during the fueling process, and we're praying to God that we don't have that issue again. And once again, that bright light across there, that is SLS, and at the moment, tanking was brought to a stop for a while as they experienced what appeared to be a hydrogen leak. Now they've resumed the process, and all we can do is hope and pray that they don't have that problem again. Seeing claims that scrub is most likely happening and launch will be rescheduled. Yeah, could very well be. And if that's the case, then I will be gone. I will not be able to remain here for any longer than that. Could they fill it completely doing a slow fill? I don't believe so. And even if it is, if they have a leak of any kind in the system, then that is going to be disastrous anyway. Yeah. Wake up early to try to get through the mess of traffic. Yeah, the traffic here is an utter disaster, a complete nightmare. Thank you so much for the £8.99. Thank you so much for the support. Once again, all this means a tremendous amount. And just so you know, I'll continue bringing you content from the Cape regardless. I intend to visit the Kennedy Space Center tomorrow before I leave. There's a Sierra Space exhibit there and such, which is pretty cool. But yeah, as you can see, we have lots and lots of people here already at just after 3 in the morning. So yeah, a state of madness at the moment, which is, you know, that's the way we space enthusiasts are. And now this area where I'm stepping into right here, this is as you can see, it got really dark, and the reason is this is private property. This is Shiloh's, who have been kind enough to grant me a place to shoot from when the time comes, but I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do if there is a scrub. Obviously that will be an issue, although I may still stay here to film sunrise. That may be a nice thing, and besides, I don't want to deal with all the damn traffic anyway. So just wanted to, okay, what has happened once again, to reiterate, we have a hydrogen leak that was detected during the initial tanking process. They stopped it. It exceeded a threshold percentage, 4%. By the way, that dot out there is SLS. I don't have my nice equipment out right now, just kind of telling everybody. So thanks very much. Yes, a scrub may be frustrating. Yeah, and like I say, obviously frustrating for me, but what is the biggest concern is if there is indeed a hydrogen leak that they can't track down while the rocket is on the pad. That means this thing has to go back to the VAB again. And the longer they have to do that, the greater the likelihood of unstacking the SRBs. There are many worst case scenarios that we really don't even want to entertain, but nevertheless, it remains possible. And of course, the more NASA encounters problems with this, the more confidence drops with people in the government who wonder, why are we spending all this money on something that continues to have issues? Hopefully that is not the case. Hopefully we stick with it as long as we need to, and understand that we need to go back to the moon. It's important that we go back to the moon. So in any event, once again, I do appreciate everybody tuning in. Over 200 people watching right now. Happy to answer questions. Just kind of taking a stroll up and down the river. Can they unstack without recertifying? I believe they can, yes. I believe that the SRBs can simply be unstacked and restacked without having to go through that process. I think they have a lot of confidence in the SRBs. They do really good work with that. So it's possible, hopefully, praying to God that that's not going to occur. So anyway, yeah, once again, please like, please subscribe. I didn't even intend to come online this early, but we already have some negative news coming from NASA that is a great source of concern. We've yet to have confirmation of any. Let me ask, I've got some viewers here. Any further information about the hydrogen leak?
It's a when they switch from slow field to
right.
high field, it started leaking. So they redid it again, and it's leaking again.
So they've had this 2 leaks now.
Yeah.
So
now
they
talking about
yeah.
they keep filling the oxygen, but they stop again the hydrogen.
So once again, news is getting worse by the minute at the moment. I hate to talk that way, but it is. They started a slow fill process again, put it up to a fast fill, and we have a second leak as a result. That is the information that we are receiving right now. However, there is some talk that they may continue with the oxygen. If that's the case, then that indicates that NASA still believes that they might be able to fix this problem in the time that they have remaining. If they can find the damn leak, then they might be able to fix it on the pad. The possibility exists, but we certainly have no guarantee of that. Like I say, I had no intention of coming online this early, but with these developments, I thought it was important that you guys find out as rapidly as possible. It just ain't cool. And hopefully, yeah, similar problem to what they had before. And once again, to reiterate, the reason I think they're having the problem is because of mobile ML1. No one understands ML1. They don't have a comprehensive design of ML1. All the contractors who built that tower have all been fired. So their understanding of that launch tower is very, very shaky and very uncertain. And if they don't, and that being the case, having a leak in the launch tower should be no surprise to anybody. So yeah, that could be irritating to say the least. So yeah, I'm very frustrated once again. And once this can't all be put on Boeing, because ML1 was not designed by Boeing. Boeing had nothing to do with the design of that launch tower. In my opinion, any leaks that they are experiencing right now are as a result of ML1, simply because they carried out a highly successful green run. They had to fuel the rocket up with hydrogen then, and it experienced no problems whatsoever. So in my opinion, ML1 is the source of the problem, and sadly, ML2 is many, many years from completion and has also experienced all kinds of problems and cost overruns. So a replacement for this deeply flawed tower is not anywhere on the horizon. So as a result, they've got to go with what they have. It was a colossal mistake to use this thing in the first place. In my opinion, they never ever should have used this launch platform. They were trying to save money converting a launch platform that was designed for a different rocket. It was always a bad idea, and now they're paying the price for it. They thought they could save money. Instead, they blew money. It's cost many hundreds of millions of dollars, went way over budget, and it doesn't work. Now, who knows? They could light a match, find the leak. Yeah, there you go. That would work. That would work, all right. Might not be good for the rocket, but yeah, that would work, no doubt about it. Once again, heading back out, we have a lot of activity here, a great deal of insanity. Once again, I do intend, bit about ML1 several times, still can't get over. Yeah, the ineptitude. It was horribly handled. And the NASA Office of Inspector General was very clear about just how much of a shit show the whole thing was. And yet, there's nothing we can do about it now. We're stuck with that launch tower. They should have built one from scratch, or maybe converted a shuttle tower, but they didn't. Look, another SLS delay. Yep, 2 wet rehearsals. The problem is, in both wet rehearsals, they experienced hydrogen leaks. I was actually rather surprised when they decided they didn't need a third wet rehearsal. That came as a bit of a surprise to me, given that they did have a hydrogen leak. But they seem to think that they had the problem figured out. They seem to think that they were good to go, and they may have been wrong. Like I say, just to be clear, no matter how mean I am about SLS and Boeing and all that, this is not what I want to have happen tonight. I do not want to have a scrub. I do not want to have a situation that requires the rocket to go back to the VAB, which may indeed be necessary. South Africa tuning, thank you very much. So yeah, if any of that happens, Artemis is going to be facing long odds on getting completed, because if this launch tower is such a piece of junk, are they going to feel safe launching human beings from it? For God's sake, are they really going to be comfortable with that? I think it seems like utter madness to me to launch human beings off of this thing, given all the problems that it's had. But who knows? Once again, as you can see, tons and tons and tons of people. Thank you, Anton, I appreciate that. Prediction, it won't launch or explode. Staggering display of incompetence. There's no question about that. Simply leaky system. SLS is the simply leaky system. Yeah, that sounds good. I like that. I may use that in a future video. That's funny. I like that. And actually quite appropriate. So, but yes, a very full parking lot. And once again, the cars going all the way down the highway. All the way down the highway, very early in the morning. Hello back to you there in Spain. Thank you so much for tuning in. So yeah, and once again, to reiterate, for those of you just joining us, I know I get a lot of people who tune in. There is a leak that has developed with SLS that, just like with the wet rehearsals, they did a fast fill. Leak was detected. They started filling it more slowly to see if they had detected again, to confirm that there was a problem. And indeed, this once again unconfirmed, it happened a second time. And with that, we are facing a grim situation indeed. And it looks like I'm coming down to residential areas now. So these are people's houses and such. So obviously we're not going to have much of anybody there. Over here to my left is Shiloh's restaurant. Very nice people, very good food. I've had 2 meals here in the time that I've been here at the Cape. These are great people, super nice people, and really accommodating. So anyway, my current plan, depending on the circumstances, my current plan is to film sunrise with the SLS. I think that will be a pretty shot regardless. And okay, quick overview of what we have missed. Once again, just to give a quick overview, we have a leak has been detected in the system, a hydrogen leak. And it has been detected twice. They stopped the fueling process, restarted more slowly, and then brought it back up to the normal filling process again. And once again, the leak was detected. At this current level, it is past NASA's safety margins. It is, and so therefore, they cannot launch under these circumstances. And we could be on the verge of a scrub in the middle of the night, hours before the scheduled launch. This could be over right now. Once again, that is not what I want at all. That's not even what I expected. Since they pushed the rocket out early, I felt that they had a lot of confidence that they were going to be able to have it ready by this time. But instead, we seem to have a situation developing which is disturbing, to say the least. And that's obviously not what we want. Yep, anything over 5% is indeed danger. That exceeded 4% was the last thing we've heard. And I will continue to update as I continue to walk around. Yeah, it could break NASA, or at the very least break Artemis. If they continue to have these problems with ML1 and they can't track it down, it'll have to go back to the VAB, and that would be pretty disastrous for Artemis if that were to occur. It is my sincere hope that that is not the case. But once again, that's just hopes and and praying. And once again, we can't even really track down the leak. That's another problem. Not even sure where the hell it is a lot of the news we've been getting. And again, that's because of the mobile launch tower. The mobile launch tower, we don't fully understand it. We don't have any sort of comprehensive blueprints for the damn thing. So obviously you're going to run into issues with something like that. It was always a terrible idea indeed, to use something something this flawed. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Again, listening in on the. By the way, if we have any questions about Artemis 1, about Orion, about their objectives for this mission, etc., I would be. They might be venting. Maybe so. I can't see it from my perspective. But yeah, that could be because they're putting in a lot of liquid oxygen. And if indeed they are venting off the oxidizer, then that's a strong indication that they are about to scrub. It is my hope that we're wrong about this. It's all rumors, but nevertheless, we could have this happening in the dead of night, way before anything even happened. Venting good or bad? Yeah, venting could be a good thing as well. Thank you so much, by the way, for your support for the £8.99. You guys are indeed fantastic. Yes, glad to be here regardless of the circumstances. I'm here to cover spaceflight regardless of what develops with this launch, regardless of whether it's a positive thing or it's a disaster. It's just not a not a good thing regardless. But thanks once again. I appreciate the folks who've tuned in. I appreciate your support, the super chats, and I appreciate anybody who likes and subscribes. You guys are awesome, and I'm happy to be here regardless of the situation. I am very happy to be here. Let me give you some information about the European service module, something that really hasn't been talked about a great deal. The European service module is actually not very expensive. It only ran a few $100 million to develop the entire project and also to make 6 of them. They have manufactured 6 European service modules off of a few €100 million, which is dirt cheap compared to how much everything else has cost on this rocket. So the ESA, the European Space Agency, has done a very good job developing a relatively affordable service module for Orion that appears to have done an excellent job. I mean, we put it through its paces a long time ago, a very long time ago, and it went off very well indeed. Hopefully the bacon will be too crispy if it gets on fire. I have not heard from Marina. No, I have not. All we can do is hope that she is indeed safe. The Russians, from what I have heard, have stepped up their attacks, and that is, of course, a grim situation. Marina is one of my Ukrainian viewers. She's been a supporter for a very long time. If it's a scrub, yeah. Hello, Italy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, go boom. Yeah, maybe. Once again, in some ways, it might actually be at least be more entertaining if it went boom, as opposed to, we got a leak, back it goes to the VAB. Thank you, Stephen. Really appreciate your help and your generosity. I'd have a feeling when I woke up in the UK that there would be a problem. Yeah, I was a little worried about that as well, to be honest. Once again, that bright dot way off in the distance, that is SLS. Leak updates, they're coming from a variety of sources, actually. I'm getting them from my viewers here who are checking into the various news feeds. So that's where we're getting it from the launch officer over at NASA. This does appear to be confirmed information. Once again, we cannot say that for certain. You never know. But in any event, it could be. Feeling. Why do we not know much about the mobile launch tower? Okay, once again, to reiterate, Mobile Launch Tower was originally designed and completed to be used with the Ares rocket, a rocket that does not exist, a rocket that is far, far smaller than SLS. They completed it and they said, hey, let's use this launch tower for the SLS and save some money. That was the thought, and that was one of the biggest mistakes NASA ever made. They've had several different contractors involved in the process who had various levels of ineptitude in designing the damn thing, and none of them really passed on the information. The contractors didn't even really communicate with one another, which means by the time the thing was complete, means we don't have comprehensive blueprints. The contractors didn't really get together and consult on what they had, and as a result, we don't have a comprehensive set of blueprints. It is pathetic that this situation exists. But that is indeed what we have right now, and I have to say I am less than thrilled about it, to say the least. It just sucks. So all we can do is hope. He's still leaking somehow. Yeah, I like that. That's a good one too. SLS still leaking somehow. Once again, this is not the rocket. Just to be clear, at least that in my opinion. It's not the rocket. It is the mobile launch tower, at least in my opinion. Given that this thing went through a very successful green run, which required that it be completely filled up, and it had no problems whatsoever. This is, now we'll see, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, this is a problem with one of the umbilicals from ML1. Good morning, hello. Dropping the LOX tank wasn't a good sign. Yeah, it's not a good sign. We could be having a detanking at this point, in which case we could have a scrub at any moment. Once we are waiting, O2 is venting as normal, but O2 Phil will have to stop if not enough H2 due to the stress engineered limits. Thank you very much for that information. There is no chance of launch with a leak. That is also very true. They will never take that kind of a chance with something that they spent this much money on and this much time. The mobile launch tower is a huge liability. That's why they're building a new one, and yet they're building a new one at a snail's pace. If indeed this mobile launch tower proves to be not viable, if it proves that if this thing cannot work properly, then what will happen is they'll have to wait for ML2, which will take years. And most probably it will be the Chinese on the moon before us, if that were to transpire. Once again, all we can do is pray that isn't the case. If it's a problem with ML1 that they can't track down, it will take years and years to get ML2 built. In the meantime, SLS will sit around collecting dust, rusting, etc. And SpaceX would be a good option. Once again, it's going to be a very long time before Starship is human rated. It'll be years before that's possible too. But yes, I would say Starship would be a good alternative. Let's get it human rated, just launch it into orbit, and then send up Crew Dragon and transfer crew members into Starship. That is starting to sound like a better option all the time. But once again, is Congress going to pay for that? Is Congress going to support that? After all the money, after all the effort that's been invested in this rocket and in this system, and if NASA comes up with a complete failure, is Congress just going to shut this whole thing down? And that does indeed seem possible. And of course, these are all worst case scenarios, ones that I don't even like to entertain, but it still could happen. And that, of course, is the last thing that we want. The last thing indeed. So once again, thanks for joining me. We have 361 people. Has Congress ever made a good investment as late? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think generally their investments have been pretty wretched for the most part. Heading over to the under the cover of darkness, and we'll see whether or not there's any chairs here.
No, these are only two, sir.
Oh, that's fine. So we'll go ahead and sit here, folks, and we will. They're still filling. Good news, good news. Thank you very much. Once again, I intend to get you guys an update here really soon. If they are indeed continuing to work, maybe they've identified the problem. Hello back to you, Australia. Thank you so much for tuning in, Froggy. I really do appreciate you saying hi. All 365 of you currently watching right now, it kind of blows my mind to see all you guys tuning in at this ungodly hour. Neat stuff indeed. Jeff doesn't have a rocket yet. Still has a lot of pull with the media and the government. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe to everybody. Please like and subscribe. Thanks. And for everybody saying that. And yeah, I'm on morning coffee too. I have to admit my energy level is beginning to drop off already. I'm kind of wondering if there's a place around here that might have some additional coffee to keep me fueled up. It won't be long before I'll be transitioning my equipment here to Shiloh's once they're ready to take me in, but not just yet. So I'm going to see if I can get one more update real quick as to what's happening. Once again, to reiterate, there have been 2 fueling attempts made with the hydrogen. The O2 is fine. Yet another hydrogen leak has been detected to an unacceptable degree that will cause a scrub if the problem continues. Now, maybe this is a simple fix. Maybe this is something they can take care of soon. But right now, I have to admit, I'm on pins and needles. I'm really starting to become concerned about this being a scrub hours before the process even got started, which would be, again, a failure of huge proportions. I mean, I could understand a last-second technical issue or something, but to have the same damn problems that they had during both wet rehearsals, that's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Yeah, once again, hydrogen leak is continuing. I'm going to try to get another update real quick for you guys before I go offline. I certainly don't want to keep you here just for the sake of keeping you here. Once again, thank you for tuning in, liking, subscribing, and I try to get anything further.
Yeah.
Anything further that you've heard?
No, they still slowly. They think they warm up the line. So when they switch from slow field to fast field, it clogs in there. There's a problem in there. So they
There's a
went
fuel
back to
line?
slow fuel.
Okay. But slow fueling isn't a viable way to do this, is it? I don't think so.
It's
Yeah.
going to take forever.
Yeah, it'd take forever to do it slow. So they appear to be maybe having a problem with the fuel line. Once again, that sounds like an umbilical issue. That sounds like a problem with the umbilicals. That sounds like a problem with ML1. Damn that piece of garbage. That's what I'm starting to become concerned about. Why didn't they finish the test during the wet dress rehearsal? That was the criticism that I had when they did it. They still had a leak, and yet they proceeded anyway. They should have made certain, they should have done a third wet rehearsal to identify any potential leaks before they push forward. I'm sorry?
They've gone back in the fast fill.
They're back to fast fill,
Up to
and there's
13
nothing.
13% on the liquid hydrogen tank and 62%.
At what point were they at when they had the leak the last time?
When they switched over.
So
from
when,
slow
right when
fill
they
to fast
switched.
fill.
Okay,
So
we just
hopefully
have an
this can
update.
stay, they'll
We
have it filled up.
just had an update, a good piece of news. Oh my God, I thought I was going to end this stream on a bad note, but no. We have resumed a fast fill process. Once again, just to reiterate, fast fill has been resumed. They are 13% filled on the hydrogen tank with no leaks, none. And if that's the case, because when they went to fast fill the first time around, the problem was detected immediately. The leak had a problem immediately. So either it was a faulty sensor or they fixed the problem. Either way, if they are going to a fast fill now and they have detected no leak, that suggests that they are going to have this rocket fully fueled shortly, and we have a much better chance for a launch. I can't believe it. This is an up and down roller coaster ride experience at the moment, up to 20% fueled at the moment. Once again, this could not happen with a leak. So if that is indeed happening at the moment, they may have rectified the problem. If that is indeed the case, then it's game on, and we will be for launch. And just moments ago, my heart was in my feet, thinking that this thing was going to get scrubbed in the middle of the night. But now it does appear, once again, we don't know for sure, but it does appear that they have either detected the problem. If there was a problem, maybe it was a faulty sensor, could have been faulty software, who knows? But what we do know is that they are filling up the hydrogen at a normal rate at the moment with no leak whatsoever. And that being the case, then we have a good situation developing with a dramatically increased chance of a successful launch this morning. So I am going to be going offline on that good note at the moment. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wow, I didn't expect this. I am so thrilled, to say the least, that this happened. And thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, thank you for your support. And I will be back within a couple of hours at the most to go ahead and start filming from Shiloh's Steak and Seafood. So once again, to you 417 people watching, thank you so much for tuning in. I will continue to provide you guys with updates as they come in, and I'll be getting my good equipment out here soon to get a proper live stream going. And until SLS actually takes off from the pad and makes its way to the moon, sends Orion on its way, I urge all of you to stay angry about space.